Hashtag mood. Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel. This is Sinag and welcome to a new reading vlog. So, in this one, we are going to read my most anticipated read or my most anticipated book of 2022. And by the time that you're watching this, it's going to be 2023 now. FLOR'S FIASCO is here and I'm going to finally read it after months and months of procrastination. We're finally here and I'm so excited. My goal for this reading vlog is to update you every chapter, I hope, of what's happening. And this is obviously going to be a very spoiler-filled reading vlog. And so, if you don't want any spoilers before reading the book, or if you haven't read the book and want no spoilers of it, then I suggest that you go read the book first before watching this reading vlog, because this is a hell lot of spoilers. So I actually finished chapter 1 already and I'm so happy to see Flor, and because we don't get to see her from the previous books, like she's very a side character that doesn't have any character yet. Him were mentioned a handful of times only, and we don't know much about her except that she is a Filipina and she is a former, or she was a registered nurse back when before the kidnapping of humans happened. And in this one, the first chapter is very fun for me, though it doesn't really have that much adventure yet, which is obviously natural for the introduction. But in this one, she is called Tita Flor by the young children. She is the typical like auntie, and she likes to gossip and to be nosy towards other people's entanglements and situations. And we also get to know the situation between her and Arjal. And I liked how this chapter ended with Irek. I didn't expect to be this excited reading about Irek because I hated him from the previous books because of his attitude, and I just don't like his too strong of a alpha like attitude. But this one, I don't know. Maybe I was hyped. I was hyped of him because of the last book, because of his presence in Daisy and Ojek's book. But in this one, I'm really excited. But anyway, I also want to take note that Ren is already walking and he's already talking, and he's kind of in the young child age na, and he was able to play with Pak and Rokar, and I was like, my heart is because from before he is only just a baby and now he's already playing, and I feel old. I feel old already because the babies are growing up na. And yeah, and what else can I talk about? There's a scene in here where Flor nagmano siya to Gail, so she do the mano gesture, and Gail doesn't want that and tells her not to do it. But then Flor says that it's in her culture, and her mom always always says to her to always mano whenever there are elders and whenever they are seeing elders like that. So I can relate to that. I mean, my mom doesn't force me sometimes, not every time, but whenever we go back to the province and whenever I see elderly our elder family members, my mom will always like give me the look that says that magmano ka dun, magmano ka. And yes, and especially whenever I see nanay, my lola or grandmother, whenever I see her, I always make sure to magmamano ako sa kanya. So because it's a form or sign of respect in our culture for the younger people to mano to their elders. So far, this is really enjoying, and my ring light is obviously dying, so I'm going to stop now and continue reading. But I really the ending of this chapter 1 with Irek. Okay, so that's it for this update na, and I'll see you after chapter 2. I just finished chapter 2. Yes, I'm going to give my commentary for each and every chapter because I just want to do so. So in this one, we are seeing, or we've seen Irek's point of view during what happened in the first chapter, and by the end of it in here, they finally resonated. So one thing Ruby Dixon's good at is redeeming the alpha and annoying heroes from what we've seen in the previous book. So in this one, Irek was actually one of my most hated character, at least in this series, based from what we have read of him on the previous books. But in this one, his point of view made sense with how he reacted from the previous books, though it doesn't really excuse his annoying and very what do you call this, very annoying actions from the other books. It still gave us something to think about him, and because he is just a person, he's not completely good or bad. Everyone is not completely good or bad. We all have in ourselves a range or spectrum of where we are, and it's not consistent. Like, it usually changes depending on the situation and the people we're around to and the environment. And so it's just different, and it's very refreshing to see Irek in a new light, because I was used to seeing him being an annoying asshole and being a very controlling head of the Shadow Cat. But in this one, he is a very good friend to Flor, and that's what kind of surprised me in this one, because they are actually friends. Like, this is a friends to lover situation, and I didn't expect that from him because of what I've said, his controlling tendencies and his annoying tendencies back then. But in this one, we kind of see that his care or his softer side was being shown only to those who he is close to and who he deems important in his life. And Flor, being his friend, automatically gets the softer side of Irek, and I kind of love that. In reality, in real life situations, I don't like that. Like, it's not really hard to be a nice person, but in this one, in fiction, I love seeing those. Anyway, what else can I talk about? So I also wanted to talk about Arjal's wishy-washiness, because he rejected Flor back then for her what do you call this, because Flor approached him for mouth mating and being basically pleasure mates, but he rejected her because he wanted to have a resonance. He wanted the resonance to dictate his love life, kumbaga. But Flor was offended by that, naturally, and now he's approaching her, telling that he wanted her now, even without resonance. And I agree with Flor here that I sympathize with her, because she feels like at the end of the day, it's still like he is choosing her as a second option, because there's nothing, or there's no one in the camp anymore. The only one left is Tia, and Tia is on the Krawatoan village, and so Arjal doesn't basically have a choice, and Flor doesn't like that. I find Arjal in this one to be really annoying, but in the previous books, he is he has that sad boy vibe. Flor and Irek, the way they are thinking about them resonating being a problem just because Tia already claimed Eric and Arjal was waiting for Flor to resonate with him. I don't know. I love the angst so far. I know that Ruby Dixon will not make it too heartbreaking because this at the end of the day this is a light sci-fi romance, but I enjoyed the depth that we got. I am looking forward when the time that Tia comes to or goes back to Icehome Beach and she's expecting Eric to be her mate. Anyway, that's all for me for now, and I'm going to read chapter 3 now. I just started reading chapter 3, and in Floor's POV, the first line states, "Ang tanga ko," and hashtag mood. So, I finished chapter 3 na, and they are supposed to be talking about what they're going to do or what their plans are before they go back to the tribe, but they decided to just have sex instead and fulfill the resonance basically before thinking about it because they cannot think straight at the moment. One thing that is kind of annoying me right now is why are we always thinking about Tia and her emotions and her reactions towards the resonance? Though I already know why. It's because Eric and Tia has a promise to each other, something like that. But right now, but as we all know, resonance kind of decides everything. So her reactions or her thoughts or opinions about the resonance is no longer valid because of that, because resonance cannot be undone. So that's just the thing that kind of annoys me in this one, but I sympathize with them because it's still early on in their resonance journey, and they are obviously not thinking straight because the resonance wants them to just do their thing to provide more kids to the tribe. I must say that Ruby Dixon really knows how to do her steamy scenes. And I also have this random thought because Shadowcat is the name of Eric's clan or tribe before they merge and be the Icehome tribe. And I just thought that I just want to know what are the Shadowcats thought about Snowcats because they are both cats, or they have cats in their name. And so because Snowcats in here are also hunted, and they are also eaten, and some which is in Krawatawan village, Snowcats are some of the snowcats are turned into pets. And so I'm just curious as to what's the point of view of the Shadow Clan or Shadowcat clan about snowcats and eating snowcats. I don't know, just a random thought. And yeah. So anyway, I'll update you after reading chapter 4 naman. I just finished reading chapter 4 of FLOR'S FIASCO, and nothing really much happened in here except for they just had to fulfill the resonance over and over again. So far, their plan is to just fulfill the resonance first, and then after that they're going to talk about what they're going to do or what are their plans. But so far I have a theory. I don't know if this is going to happen, but it could be that after fulfilling resonance, if that's really their plan, when they go back to the Icehome camp or Icehome beach, Tia is already there, and then angst ensues. But I don't know, but so far that's my theory right now. Or it could go that way depending on what Ruby Dixon wanted to achieve. It is a very short update because they're just having sex in chapter 4 and a little bit of talking, but more on sex. So I'll update you after reading chapter 5. So I finished chapter 5 and a lot of things happened. And first I wanted to say that it's kind of cute seeing or reading the kids calling Flor Tita Flor. That's very tita of her. Aside from that, Flor's being a little bit too exaggerated for me. I don't know. She thinks a lot of about the curses. She basically states that she and Irex kind of meeting is sukob with Daisy and Ojek's meeting, and that doesn't even make sense because Ojek and Irek are not even siblings, but I don't know what's going on in Flor's mind. But anyway, aside from that, we also get to know that Ashtar finally retrieves Tia from Croatawan, so she's going to be in the next chapters, I think. And so I'm ready. I'm here for the drama, and I kind of like that we get to see that early on. Like since I finished chapter 5, so I'm going to chapter 6 na, so it's very early and it's not going to be prolonged because I know that we're going to have the clones naman near the last parts of the book. So I'm really excited to just deal with the drama between Flor, Irek, Arjal, and Tia. So I also wanted to add that whenever Flor says something in Tagalog and then she immediately switches to English, it's kind of weird, at least in terms of the delivery. For me personally, for me lang naman, based from how I am hearing myself and how I hear other Filipinos speaking English and then speaking Tagalog, whenever they and I speak Tagalog, it's much more harsher. It sounds more harsh and rough than the English words and phrases. And so for me personally, whenever I see or whenever I read her Tagalog phrases and words, it feels off for me because it is alongside English phrases. Like, I don't know if I am explaining myself well. It's very picky of me, and it's very kind of surface levels. I just wanted to take note of that. And I don't know if you also felt that way. For all of my Filipino people and Tagalog speaking people, you also felt like that, like it doesn't sit well, the combination of, though even I, whenever I speak, even in this channel, I sometimes uses both Tagalog and English, so Taglish, and yeah, I even I'm doing that, I felt like it doesn't fit well, but I don't know, that's just my opinion though. So that's my update for now. See you later. Finished reading chapter 6 and chapter 7. So in chapter 6, nothing much happens except they are already in the camp, Icehome camp or Icehome beach, and they have separated their ways because Flor is going to talk to Arjal and Irek is going to talk to his clansmate. So basically chapter 6 is we see Irek's talking to his tribesmate, and basically they are telling him or teaching him how to do foreplay, and then that's basically what happened in chapter 6. And then in chapter 7, we are following Flor's side naman. So I feel so bad for Arjal. Like, I want him to just be happy and have his sweet because he is surprisingly really calm throughout the whole situation talking with Flor, and he's very understanding of her, and he was able to give her an advice and pep talk. He still treats her as friend even though they're supposed to be resonant. I think in the next chapter 8, we're going to see Tiana, and I'm kind of excited about that, and I want to know how they are going to, what are they going to do to move forward. And I'm frustrated with Flor and Eric because they are deliberately having a miscommunication issue, and they could what do you call this? They can easily rectify that, or yeah, or have a solution for that if they only talk about their expectation. Because the thing is, I think they are both just waiting for the resonance to happen and plan afterward. But if they only just talk freely with each other, and what their dreams and expectations are in their relationship, then they won't be having as much as I am saying that I love angst in books. I don't want it to be rooted in miscommunication. Hello, so I finished reading chapter 8 and chapter 9 of FLOR'S FIASCO. I regret saying before that I love the drama because I definitely don't like what's happening right now. And in chapter 8, Tia finally got back in Croatoan, and she's basically making a fuss and being annoying in the camp. And I don't I know I know she and Eric had their promise, but and how she talks about Flor is also, I agree with Eric that she's being out of line, and because Flor didn't do anything wrong to her, it is Eric who has a promise on her, and I just it frustrates me. And then in chapter 9, here's the thing also I wanted to take note. Steph is being, I don't like Steph in this one. She's being very what do you call this? It's not her business, but she makes everything her business. And in this one, Irek wanted to go to Flor and talk to her, but she stopped him and pushes him to talk to Tia instead. And I agree with Irek. I am actually surprised because I didn't know that I will agree to Irek this much or a lot. And in this one, he's kind of the one making sense. And it frustrates me because why does everyone is being so annoying, and so basically people in the Icehome kind of, everyone keeps getting emotional, and Eric is the only one thinking logically in here. Anyway, so we are in Steph and Jude's hut, and Eric and Tia are talking about the things with their past and something like that. And I feel so bad for Eric because of what's happening and people being very emotional and dumb around him. And I'm going to update you later because obviously my neighbors are. I'm hoping that you can hear our neighbors karaoke, and if you hear them, I hope that what they're singing isn't a copyrighted song, because I finished reading chapter 10 and I'm currently at the start of chapter 11. And chapter 10, nothing really much happened. Like they kind of wrap up what they're talking about, or their therapy session with Steph. My theory right now, the reason why Flor and Eric was not able to fulfill the resonance right ahead, and I think the reason for that is because both Flor and Eric were still not able to have that emotional capacity. They cannot accept the reality that they are mated already and that they are going to stay the rest of their lives together and they're going to make a family together. And I think Flor is more like that because I think Eric already is thinking of that and he is already prepared for that, but Flor isn't still convinced with their resonance. And I think that's the reason why the Kui still is making them go fuck like bunnies. And yeah, so that's my theory at least. And I think after they are finished with, or after they have talked about it and accept that they are going to be resonated mates, then I think that's when they're going to stop resonating or fulfill the resonance. So at least that's my theory for now. So I'll see you later again because the noise. So I finished chapter 11 and I'm really curious as to what's going to happen with the fruit cave. And I don't know, it's very intriguing to me, and I kind of hate it now na I already know that there's going to be another series and this is going to be the last book. I'm kind of annoyed na talaga on Sam because she didn't tell the tribe before that there's another being in the ice planet, and so we don't know what's happening and if they are in danger or not. Another thing, I like that Flor puts Tia in her place in this one, but I wish she has a much firmer backbone. I kind of sympathize with that, with what she did, and even though it's not up to my liking, I understand because they Irek and Flor doesn't still have a communication, and so there's a bit of confusion with both parts, and that's why Flor cannot say it in her whole chest what she really wanted to say to Tia. But I still like that she puts Tia in her place, and I think their journey to the fruit caves will give Irek and Flor time to really open up with each other. And aside from that, I'm also really curious with the writings on board and what's happening with the fruit cave and the entire ice planet. So I already finished chapter 12 and 13, and I don't have anything to say because they're just fucking each other. One thing among a lot of things that I can commend Ruby Dixon for is she really knows how to write her smut. When she says it's steamy, it really is steamy. And so, I don't know. And aside from that, Irek, this book actually kind of paint Irek in a new light, and I have a new appreciation for him. And in this one, he actually is the one, at least in chapter 13, he is really the one who initiated the conversation wherein he said that he doesn't want Tia anymore, and basically he only wants Flor and Flor alone. And so at least I appreciate at least the honesty and vulnerability. Now it's only up to Flor to trust him about that, and basically to just have an open communication together with Irek. So I finished reading chapters 14 and 15, and I really am liking their dynamic so far. They have a very playful banters, and I just love them joking around each other and joking together. It's so fun, and I didn't really and the reason I think why I am kind of surprised and amazed right now is because I didn't expect Irek to be like that, because from the previous books we've known him to be really grumpy and bossy, but in this one, or yeah, as we go along, we are seeing his softer side and his playful side, and I really much enjoying it. And I think it is a big help that Flor was there to lighten his mood every time he is in his grumpy state, because I think his usual or his default mood is being grumpy, but whenever Flor is there, he's always she kinds of passes her positive energy to Irek, and I really am enjoying their dynamics. And aside from that, we also have seen them slowly opening up with each other, and they actually have talked about what are they going to do in the future. Since the resonance has been fulfilled, what are they going to do next? And I love that she mentioned about the usual tradition in here where we always have a feast after any celebrations, but especially wedding. So I really want to see another celebration, big gathering of the Icehome people alongside the Croatawan tribe, just like what happened in Barbarians Pride. I want them to have a not just a wedding but an actual feast, like the after wedding ceremony or after wedding party or celebration. I also want the Krawatawan tribe and the Krawatawan villagers and the Icehome Icehome people, Icehome beach people. I want them to finally meet together and for all of the kids to play together and something like that. And I think if Flor and Eric will have that wedding feast before this book ends, then I think that would be a great time for both of the tribes to connect and for all of the kids to meet each other again. And aside from that, to also include the new tribe members to come. But so far, right now, we have also seen the Metlaks fleeing from something, and I still don't know if Niri already landed on the ice planet, but I don't know what to think about the Metlaks, but I hope they are not endangered, or I hope they are going to a safer place, because even though in here they are treated like villains, but they are just another living creature living in the planet. They still contribute something, and I'm just curious. I just wanted to see not a spin-off, but even just a short story surrounding just Metlaks, like Metlaks resonating with each other and something like that. I haven't heard or listened to any opinions from other people regarding that, but I am very much curious as to how Metlaks do things, like what are their culture and how do they resonate and other things that because they are described in this one just like the Sakui, like they have the appearance of a bipedal living being, but the difference I think is the beak or snout, because they have a snout and their eyes look like owl. I want a spin-off story of Metlaks. So yeah, so that's all for now, and I'm going to update you once I have something more to say. Obviously, I'm not doing the chapter by chapter now because some of the chapters in here are very short, and there are some that are just full on sex scene, and so I wanted to update you once I really have something to say. See you later. Hello everyone, so I just finished the entire book na, and if I look like a mess right now, it's because I just got back from an errand, but let's just finish this na. So at the last half of the book, we get to see a lot of information about the next series in this Ice Planet world, so the Ice Planet clones, and the first book will be Argel's Resonance, and I'm so excited for that. So we get to see new types of alien, and aside from that also human, so that's very interesting. And aside from that, in terms of the macro plot level, there's a lot of expansion. The world is expanding, and I'm kind of liking that, because we started with Ice Planet Barbarians, right? And in Ice Planet Barbarians, the series, we are just introduced to the world, and it seems like and for us readers and at the same time for the characters, it looks like they are the only sentient being in that world. But as we go along, and as the world expands, we get to know and see that there are still a lot of aspects in this Ice Planet world that we are not yet exploring. And in Icehome, we get to see the islanders and their specific clans, and then in this one, we're getting to know the history of the Ice Planet world. So I'm very interested with knowing the history of the Ice Planet, and at the same time the the newcomer. So we actually got to see 3 different situations wherein that could possibly inform us as to what's going to happen next. So we have the fruit cave situation, and I think that will be known to us when Argyle's resonance came out. And then also the ancestors, because we get to know that the ancestors or the native in the planet were a bit brutal, I think, from what they described it, from what they see, have read. And aside from that, the Metlock situation as well. Why are they going somewhere? So I'm very interested with knowing that. And aside from that, also the other three, what do you call this? 3 lost people in the pod when Neri dropped them off. So that's very interesting. And going back to Flor and Irek's resonance, so I find their chemistry really refreshing, and I like that they really complement each other well. In Ruby Dixon's author's notes, she mentioned that she never saw Flor and Argyle having great chemistry together, and when she kind of mix Flor and Irek, it feels like it's really natural for her. And I kind of agree with that, because their chemistry are just really good, and their banters as well. It's very funny and interesting to read. And the wedding feast, I enjoyed. I like that Irek still continue with the wedding feast, and we get to see different Ice Planet version of Filipino food, such as pansit, lechon, halo-halo, kalamay, and yeah, so that's what mentioned in here. And I also read the bonus story rin kasi, the fishing contest between Flor and Irek, and it's really interesting, and I really enjoyed their competitive but flirtatious banter together. And we get to see a bit of a different dynamics when it comes to the sex life of the two of them. I highly recommend pala reading the bonus story as well, because it's really fun. You get to know, you get to see more competitive and friendly banters between the two of them, and aside from that, them exploring some kinks. So I highly recommend. If you haven't read any of the Ice Planet books, don't read this before that, because this is the end na naman of Icehome, and this is kind of the marker for the new series to start. So I recommend the entire Ice Planet Barbarians Icehome series. They just are very fun. They have great relationship dynamics between the main characters, and aside from that, the overall macro plot, you get to see something about the world and explore it as well as the different side characters. So we have a lot of things in here. Oh, and aside from that, I'm also excited to read the second generation, the kids, when they grow up. So I'm just happy to read. I'm just happy to know that we are going to have a lot of contents around or on the Ice Planet world. So yes, so obviously I give this 5 stars, and it is one of my all-time faves na ulit. And then Irek is actually surprisingly a book boyfriend na, and I just love his softer side in this one. For me personally, Flor doesn't have much thing going on with her, because she's very transparent. Like, what you see of her, what you see is what you get. But I really like when Irek approached her and basically started opening up. She decided to do that as well. Like, she didn't go back from her shell or from her comfort zone, but instead also communicated with him. After that initial kind of problems with regard to the resonance, she's kind of always taking charge na. And aside from that, I also like that both of them became the leader of the new people and aliens that was sent to the Ice Planet. And I'm just so excited to read more about this, and I'm excited especially to the lizard guy because I'm confused. I'm wondering what's going to happen. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for this reading vlog. I think this is a successful one because I just love reading FLOR'S FIASCO. This is going to be it for this video. I really enjoyed this one and I hope you enjoyed as well, and I hope to do this again. I'm not telling you what books I'm planning to do a dedicated reading vlog. So that's it for this reading vlog. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. And you can also follow me on my Bookstagram account, and you can add me or follow my reviews on Goodreads as well. So all of those links will be down below, and just click it if you want to do so. So thank you so much for watching, and see you on my next video. Bye bye.